Hello, this is the Grow 7 channel. Thank you for being here. So, like I said yesterday, I'm gonna showcase now my Decidueye GX list. I'm gonna go over the cards, talk about why this list is different, what this list accomplishes that the others maybe doesn't, maybe don't, and yeah, I'm gonna go over why I'm playing like 3 instead of 4. I'm gonna go over the numbers, the strategies, and do some matchup discussions. So without further delay, let's go. I have here the Decidueye GX with the Feather Arrow ability. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this is why this deck is good. I guess the idea behind the deck is based around this ability. Putting 2 damage counters might seem like not too much, but yeah, it is much. The damage scales and every damage matters in this deck. So you start putting damage, and the difference between this and Greninja is that you can get more free prizes with this. Like, it's a constant ability with, I guess I should say, once you have the CGI on the bench, you're fine to take free prizes. You take free prizes more freely, I should say, with this than with Greninja. So this creates opportunities in the game that Greninja might not have sometimes. And this is one of the reasons I like the Decidueye a bit more than Greninja. I still like Greninja. He has also Razor Leaf, 90 damage for a grass and a double colors. You might think you're not gonna use this, but like I said, every damage matters, so it's important to take this into consideration. And of course, Hollow Hunt, and you will probably use this with this list. Put 3 cards from your discard pile into your hand. Yeah, it's very good. It's a very good attack. Like, for example, let's suppose you're up against Buzzwole, and your Latios, one of your attackers, simply goes down. You can use this to grab the DCE, the Latios, and you're fine. Like, I mean, of course you can get hand, but the big part is getting back your resources. And this is amazing. This is really amazing. Of course, the Decidueye has 240 HP. It's a stage 2, so it should be bulky, but it's important to notice that, yeah, this is good. And it's hard to hit knockout most of the time. And of course, the Decidueye attacks with 2 energy cards, ADC and Aggress. So to make this deck faster, you need to start putting pressure early, and this is the difference between this deck and the Ninetales variants. Ninetales with, of course, Vulpix with the beacon attack is amazing. However, you don't have the time to actually start beacon, and then you grab your, I guess, Ninetales and the Decidueye, and then your opponent ends you, and if you by a miracle doesn't get knocked out, Vulpix doesn't get knocked out, then you can next turn get the Ninetales. Like, it's so slow. But with this, those 2 attackers, Tapu Koko and Latios, you start putting the pressure early on. So the point of the deck is starting building the damage from early on. It's not about like, oh, I'm gonna get the Decidueye and I'm gonna stay with this bulky Pokemon up front, doing damage only with my ability, then my opponent can, of course, attack me, but no, I got 3 max potions in my list, so I'm gonna heal every turn. Like, I don't think the meta favors this very much. Of course, Greninja, for example, has the attack that it can shuffle itself back to the deck, so it can deny prizes. This doesn't have that, of course, but it's not the same strategy as Greninja. I feel like with Greninja, you're trying to put the damage so you can knock them out easily with your attack. Like you're not taking, like you said before, free prizes as much as this. With this, you can actually put damage where, for example, with Greninja, sometimes you're not really focusing on the Malamars against the Necrozma because you really need to get the game going, and it's hard to take prizes. It's harder to take prizes with Greninja than it is with Decidueye, I think. You might disagree. Please comment down below if you got a point to make. I will gladly read it. So yeah, I said you have two attackers. Tapu Koko with the Flying Flip ability does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and also the active, of course. And Free Retreat, also it's always good. 110 HP, it gets knocked out by Buzzwole really easily, so against that matchup you're not gonna use it. And I think this is the card, I can't say it makes the deck, because of course the Decidueye is the heart of the deck, but I think this is what really makes it good. Breakthrough, 30 damage on the front, 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Now some might be thinking, why is Latios better than Tapu Koko? Like you say that about Latios but not about Tapu Koko. Okay, Koko really is good and spreads the damage around the board, sure. However, every damage matters, like I said. 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that you want to knock out really matters. Like, it's 10 damage more on only one Pokemon. However, it does matter, it's important. And also it's a psychic type, so it's hitting Buzzwole and Necrozma and Malamars. Really good. Like 110 and 20 damage against Buzzwole with a Choice Man, it's amazing. So yeah, this card is very good. It's Psychic Weakness, so it's easy to knock out like Malamars, but they attack with 3 energy most of the time, so yeah. Of course, 2 Lilies. Why not 3 Lilies? Because you don't want to start with them. And why not 1 Lily? Because normally what you do is you grab a Lily for bridges, then use bridges, and then you have 1 Lily to grab another supporter in the game. So I think 2 is the perfect number for Lily. And of course, Wonder Tag, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to your bench, you may search your deck for a supporter card, review and put it into your hand. Very good. Also Energy Drive. This attack, you might think because you want to spread damage, you don't use it, but it's good to take into consideration. So of course 20 damage times the amount of energy between Lily and the opponent's active Pokemon. Very good. Here I have a Attach card, Espeon EX. It's a card that can devolve each one of your opponent's evolved Pokemon. So with this, this is good against. This is good against mostly Stage 2 decks. However, it can be good against Stage 1, but you're not gonna win against Zoroark because of that. Like Zoroark is so speedy, he probably doesn't even care about this. Also, if he plays Parallel City, that can be a problem. And yeah, this is a good card. Mostly, it's attached. You can remove it if you want. With this mindset this list mindset, Espeon becomes less useful, but still useful against Stage 2 decks. So I like it here, but you can make an argument to remove it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna talk about later. I have here two field blowers. If you watched last video, I talked about how three field blowers should be better, of course, than two field blowers. I wasn't expecting Garb to make such a comeback. We have now Buzzwole Garb having like good places in tournaments. So yeah, definitely you should give this. You should put three in the list, not two. I think it's better. But yeah, basically three is better than two. I don't know what you would take out though, but I'm gonna talk about this max potion. Before I also had Acerola. I wasn't using Acerola, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it out. But I was being a little conservative and left one max potion. However, because you need to keep the aggression on your opponent, I think you can take out the max potion because it's so important to attach an energy. Like, let's suppose you Hollow Hunt, okay? You have Decidueye up front and you use Hollow Hunt, right? Then your opponent attacks you and doesn't knock you out. Sometimes, and sadly most of the times with this deck, you want to attack with Razor Leaf. Okay, I know this is strange, but keeping the pressure on your opponent, like this attack is your highest damage attack most of the time. So keeping the pressure there and not giving space to your opponent might be better. So when you use max potion, you are slowing your game. And I haven't found a lot of ways to actually use max potion in this deck that give you an advantage. So yeah, I thinking max potion is an old thing, to be honest, in this deck. I might be wrong, of course, but yeah, maybe I would take out the max potion because I don't think it's worth it anymore. But yeah, it's a good card, heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. Definitely good. Rare Candy. Of course, you want your Decidueyes early, so I'm playing 4 rare candies, so I can evolve Rowlet to Decidueye. This is why I'm only playing 2 Dartrix, that is still important, however not that, it shouldn't be the focus, so that's why I'm not running 3 or 4 Dartrix. And I'm gonna go over Timer Ball now, because it's relevant to this. Timer Ball at 3. I used to run at 2, however, I prefer 3. Like, after playing 3 is really good and gets your Decidueyes and your evolutions a lot more consistently. And this deck is all about putting the pressure early on and being consistent. So no gimmicks, no stuff, that maybe you're like, oh, this is very good, like, oh, Beacon is helping me because it's such a good effect. Yeah, but like damage is more important than beaconing for you. I think I'm gonna keep talking about that because Ninetales, I think it's an old thing in this deck. I think it should be its own deck, but even so, I think it's an old card right now, even though I love Ninetales. And Timer Ball helps you, back to Timer Ball, it helps you flip 2 coins for each head, search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, review it, and put it into your hand. So very good card. And you may fail, like you may flip 2 tails, of course, you may flip 2 heads. It's coin flips. I know we hate coin flips in this game, but trust me, it's good. Of course, for Ultra Ball, because you need to search for Lele. This is mainly for Lele, but also for the others. You can discard 2 cards if you do it, search for a Pokemon in your deck, and then shuffle it. Yeah, very good card. Every deck runs 4, exception being those with Mysterious Treasure, of course. So let's go back to rescue structure. You can choose one, put a Pokemon from discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon. Why am I only running one rescue structure in such a heavy Pokemon count type of deck? Because Hollow Hunt. Basically, I take full advantage of Hollow Hunt. So every count you see here, that's like, oh, you only run one explosion. Oh, you only run. Field Blur. No, I think you should run 3. But like, you only run 3 energy. Like, Hollow Hunt will save you. Like, take full advantage of that. It's a very good GX. And I'm happy that this is the GX of this deck. Very good. So yeah, only one rescue stretcher, very good card, does its job. Not much else to add. Bridget. 3 Bridgets, you search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon. Of course, you won't take Espion, so I mean, like 3 Bridgets. Let me start by talking about the count. 4 Bridgets would be way too much. In less than 3, you're less likely to start with it on your first turn. So I know some people are like, oh, but Bridget becomes a dead card after you use it, after the first time you use it. And most of the time, like 95% of the time, it's a useless card. But those 5%, like maybe you just need the Latios and you have DC and Choice Band in your hand, so you pick the Latios, send it up front. Like, it can be used, like maybe you only need one Pokemon, you don't need to draw, like your hand is full. So Bridget, very good card, and not that useless as people think after the first time. I'm gonna go over the draw spoilers in one go. Cynthia, shuffle your hand into a deck, draw 6, and of course, everybody knows, and Sycamore. Why am I running 4-4-2? Isn't Sycamore like better to shuffle your deck, to discard? Of course, but as you're running stage 2 decks, I really think you should focus on the shuffle draw instead of the discarding your hand. Sometimes you have a Decidueye, sometimes you have Rare Candy, and then you're like, no, I will need this after this time, so after this turn, so yeah, you should be focusing on the shuffle draw. And Sycamore is still good, so most of the time you're using Sycamore, you're using it in combination with Ultra Ball and Lele. You're like discarding my whole hand, so Ultra Ball, Lele, Sycamore. Very good card, but it's fine at 2. 3 choice bands. With 4 choice bands, I know I said damage is important, damage matters in this deck so much, every damage. However, 3 choice bands is enough, because when you put it at 4, the game starts giving you when you don't want it. And when you put it at less than 3, you start looking for your deck and you can't find something that sometimes happens when you have like 2 field blowers, for example. So yeah, choice band, very good card at 3. And the same goes for float stun. I won't repeat. It's very good card at best at 3. And then your energy, of course, the max count for DCE. Every attacker uses it. 3 energies, 3 grass energies. I used to think 4 would be ideal, but no, you only need 3. You most likely will only use 1 in your game, or 2. So I would say there's a rule that if you're gonna use like 3 of a card, you get 4. If you're using only 2 of a card, get 3. I would say that, yeah. Because it makes more consistent. So right now I'm gonna go over matchups. This deck is very good against Malamar and Buzzwole. It's basically, I built this focusing on those matchups. Uh, yeah, I guess Buzzwole Latios is simply stupid. Like it's so good that you won't have much of a problem against those. Coco can be used in some matches, but Latios really outshines Coco. Uh, I don't know if I would like take one of Coco and put one of Latios, but I'd have to test it a bit more. But yeah, Coco can be used against Malamar, though you will most likely want to use Latios. If you find Ho, Coco can do 100 damage with a Choice Band and DC, very good. Let me see, and against Zoroark. Coco is the attacker against Zoroark. You can't use Latios, you're only doing 10 damage to the front. However, I don't think Coco or Espeon is gonna save you against Zoroark. The reason I say that is because in other lists that run more max potions and those stuff, you might have a more favorable matchup against Zoroark, a more favorable matchup, and however, I don't think you should like, oh, I'm gonna have a more favorable match against Zoroark, but they are lose against Buzzwole and Malamar. So because of that, I think this more aggressive build gets the job done against two decks and loses to one, which is fine to be honest, against the top three. So yeah, I prefer this type of mindset, this type of strategy. There is of course Greninja GX for first Greninja GX. It should be 50-50 or more favorable to you, more favorable. It can go both ways. But I think you have a slight advantage, maybe. But yeah, and you have, of course, you lose to Baby Greninja, the old Greninja Turbo. Greninja Break deck. It would win against this because of the ability lock. Even though you are grass and they're weak to grass, I don't think it matters. There are still variants like Duskmane, Necrozma. It's Dom. No, it is Duskmane, Necrozma, of course. Those decks can be like they can win against you. However, some of them don't run Choice Band because like they don't expect. So like they run Fighting Fury Belt. So they're doing 230 damage. So yeah, they're not knocking out the Decidueye. But if they do run Choice Band, yeah, they will. But I don't think they will expect the Decidueye. Some of them run Guard, so yeah, Field Blower up to 3 might be good. In more cases than Zoro Guard or Buzzwole Guard. Buzzwole Guard is another one that it's hard. It's hard because of Guard, of course, but everything else about that match, I bet about that matchup is in your favor. Like Latios really gets the job done. So if you see Buzzwole, grab Latios and do your thing. This isn't the type of deck that is very easy to use, but after playing and playing, you start to realize what you should be doing in a match. So yeah, and I think I should mention Zygarde because I don't know what's up with that. People were considering it to be like a super, how should I say, an underdog, like Buzzwole is bad in every way, blah blah blah, and then when you go to Limitless TCG to see the list, the top list, Zygarde is there in some tournaments, so I think it should be respected. Like, maybe, of course, it's a rogue, but it should be respected. And against that, you're mostly attacking with your Latios, even though your Latios, you're building the Decidueye, and that GX, you can't really, it won't be that much of a problem. Zygarde's GX, Lycan Rock is the biggest problem because it won't hit knockouts. One of the few things that do will hit knockout Decidueye. So yeah. And of course, I think the last one I should mention is Lapras. Some people are really convinced that Lapras can be a good deck, and I think yes, but at the same time, like, this deck wins against Lapras and loses against Lapras. It depends whether your opponent knows really well how he is playing, and like, because you can float the energies, but if he keeps bringing Lapras, you can win. But Volcano is the annoying problem. Like, really, that Prism Star Volcano is really a problem. And yeah, it can go both ways. To be honest, I think Lapras might have a slight advantage, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. And yeah, last one, fire decks. They focus mostly on Ho, but sometimes you can find volcanoes. I'm not on tournaments, but online. It can go both ways because you're weak to fire, but most of the time you're fine as well. And oh yeah, last one, Gardevoir. Sure, you don't find Gardevoir that often. If you're playing against Zoroark Gardevoir, you might lose because Zoroark, like I said before, so speedy, so consistent, so amazing, best deck in format. But against Gardevoir, it shouldn't be a problem. Like, you've got Espion, you can take advantage of that. Like, they rare candy, then you devolve them. They need to find another rare candy. Very good. And I think that's it. Like, this is how this deck works. Remember, you're trying to spread damage. Every damage matters. And yeah, thank you for watching. Tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, but in a few days I will be posting the last Alakazam build, probably before rotation. Alakazam is one of my favorites, so if you also like Alakazam, look forward to it. I've been getting some good results online, and that's it. Thank you. Bye.